I spent the last 7 years and over $50 million on Google Ads trying to figure out the best scaling strategies. And I'm happy to say that I finally figured out something which is not only one of the best strategies I've tried to date, but it's also one of the easiest. So in this video, I want to show you this exact easy scaling strategy which you can apply to your own e-commerce brand right now and scale it to the very next level regardless of what niche or industry your brand is in. Now there's 3 major components to this strategy actually coming to full effect and to this strategy actually working properly. The first is the competitor side of things, actually researching them, understanding what they are, what they do, etc. Second thing is analyzing their ad strategies and their ad approaches, which then brings us to the third element, which is creating your own scaling approach. Let's now kind of go over an example right here on my screen to show all of this in effect. Let's assume that I was trying to sell a plastic bottle. How would my scaling strategy work and what would I exactly try to be doing here? So first things first, the first element, like I mentioned, is the competitor element. You want to understand what your competitors are doing, not only on an individual level, but on a broad level and on a top of the funnel view. Here's what I mean. So if we look right here, I did a quick search for one of the main keywords within this niche, 16-ounce plastic bottle. And you could kind of remove this, keep things broad as well, just search up the keyword plastic bottle. What you're trying to understand is on a broad level, what are the competitors doing? What kind of images do they have? What kind of product titles do they have? Pricing, Google Merchant Center, promos, programs, etc. These are all things on the top of the funnel view you need to have in mind, because this determines what your exact strategy is going to be. So when I do the keyword research for the keyword plastic bottle, I noticed that a lot of these competitors, not only do they have just simple plain plastic bottles which sort of look similar to each other, but also their pricing is very similar to each other, and all of these product images, it's essentially the same. However, when we type in the keyword 16-ounce now, things change a little bit. Now we see this brand coming up here, which is on its own very unique approach. This brand is the perfect epitome of exactly what you need to be doing with your own product if you were to be selling a plastic bottle. But what they did here is they understood, first and foremost, majority of their competitors have plain white background images. So what they did is they decided to do the complete opposite. They came in with a real lifestyle background image and they put some orange juice within their plastic bottle to help it stand out. So even though it's still a very simple product image, it's enough to completely stand out and grab somebody's attention. That's the first thing you want to be understanding before you apply the scaling strategy, because true scale actually begins with the product image. But that's not all, because now we move on to the actual product title. Second thing you need to be doing in order to really implement this easy scaling strategy is to understand how your competitors have laid out their product titles. Again, if you go in on a broader level, you want to start off broad and understand what the approach is there. Do these product titles all have very specific keywords, or all of them very lengthy and very big? Or are these keywords something like keyword stuffing, where these brands, they're putting each keyword one after the other separated by just comma? Just looking and analyzing at your competitors' product titles should give you an idea into 3 different things. Number 1, how big are their product titles? Number 2, do their product titles have a lot of perceived value, or is it more of just these SEO keywords where it's talking about dimensions, sizes, etc.? Number 3, are the product titles relevant, or are those product titles of your competitors more kind of either too narrow or they're too broad? So in this situation, what we see is a lot of these product titles, they're very specific, yet they have broad keywords. Like they're talking about specific sizes. This one says 17 ounce, this one says 8.5 ounces, so on and so forth. So these are very specific, and they also have some broad keywords in there. So just looking at the product titles should give you a better idea of what your own product title should be. In this situation, for this brand, if we go back right here, they also noticed that a lot of these product titles, they have very specific keywords. All of these keywords include a specific type of size of that bottle. In this situation, they included the size of the bottle. However, if you look at their product title, they decided to add these lines to add a little bit of authority and to add a little bit of perceived value, because none of these other product titles have these words separated by these lines. And although these lines are very simple things, they add enough authority and they add enough perceived value to make this brand seem like something unique, to make this brand seem like something at the top of this niche, and as a result, get users to click on your ad. But this is only the product title. Now, we need to move on to the product pricing, because yes, this strategy, the scaling strategy, involves product pricing. The product pricing strategy itself, it doesn't have to be too crazy, it doesn't have to be too unique, it just needs to be different. What I mean by this is everybody else here has product prices which are in the cents, 38 cents, 58 cents, 66 cents. This brand comes in here with a product pricing that's $70. Yes, it's $70. It's out of this world, completely crazy, but it's enough to capture your attention, because now, even if you don't really have a budget to spend $70 on a plastic bottle, you're going to be intrigued to click on it to understand if it's one plastic bottle or if it's many. Because the main goal of the product pricing should be to capture your attention and to get you onto the actual landing page. A lot of these brands right here, they're so bland, they're so boring that they don't do a good job of just even attracting a click, which explains why a lot of these brands have probably very low CTR. So if you want to have a high CTR, which ultimately plays into the scaling strategy, you need to be doing something with the product pricing which helps your brand stand out. It's not just about offering the lowest price. It's not just about being the most convenient to your user. It's about being something that's bold. It's about being something that makes a statement. And that's exactly what this brand right here does. But now we move on to the final part of the actual scaling strategy within the product listing itself, which is the backend, the Google Merchant Center side of things. So things such as the reviews you have, if you have any types of returns, which did the product feed. Again, the main goal here is to be the opposite of your competitors. This brand right here, they did this perfectly because they have review stars, whereas none of these other brands have review stars. That on its own is enough to get your attention on this brand right off the bat. And let's now assume you have done all these things. Your first scaling part is finished, which is this product listing part, and all of your products that you have, they're optimized in this manner. Now you move on to the campaign side, because if you were to just right off the bat move on to the campaign side, sure, you're gonna achieve a little bit of scale, but it's gonna be nowhere close to the massive amounts of scale you can truly achieve when you get the first portion of scale, which is this product listing side of things, in place. But essentially from here now, there's two ways to go about it with this simple scaling strategy, and these two ways, they're still very simple. The first way is by vertical scaling, which is essentially by just increasing the budgets of whatever is working here by 20 to 30% every 7 to 10 days. You don't want to do it too often, and you don't want to do it more than 10 days because that means you're just waiting around for too long. Every 7 to 10 days, you should be increasing the budgets by no more than 20 to 30%. And it doesn't matter what campaign it's for, as long as that campaign is performing, it's providing steady results, you're actually scaling the brand to the level you would like, then you can go ahead and apply vertical scaling. That's the first easiest portion of scaling. The second way to scale now is via horizontal scaling. This is something we also apply for majority of the brands we work with under my Google Ads agency Your Marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the very next level with Google Ads. Go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But horizontal scaling is where you now expand your campaign types and you launch more campaign types, whether it's more performance max campaigns or more standard shopping campaigns or YouTube, demand gen, etc. It's about expanding the horizons and now taking that solid foundation, that solid scale you achieved within your product listings to now let the algorithm find more users to go towards those product listing ads and just in general towards your landing pages. Because if you established a very strong foundation here, if you really focused on your product approach here like this brand did right here, by now your quality score for your ad account and just the overall feel of the algorithm should be at a very high level for your brand. And now it becomes almost difficult not to scale. I mean, that's what we see for majority of these brands right here, where in the 90 days up to today, we're scaling this brand with literally only 6 campaigns, and we have spent $133,000 to make back almost $1 million in revenue. That's why this strategy is so simple, because at the end of the day, simple is what works best. But again, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level. You go out on my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But check out this video right here on our top 5 performance max campaign strategies and tips we are using to scale brands to levels like these right here.